If by now you haven't heard, the PS6 has probably been in production or possibly R&D for a while. One of the craziest things that I continue to see is how PlayStation has been able to get away with a generation of mediocrity while it got defended almost all the way through. It engaged in what I thought was a very unethical practice, even though it's not illegal, which is money hatting of games in order to pad its library. It did something similar in the PS4 generation. I remember actually going back and looking and saying, wow, it was pretty much taking the same approach. However, what has happened nonetheless is, in terms of the PlayStation 5, there just were not enough sales that were quick enough to be able to get it back to the PS4 days and pull a lot more people, because gaming technology is twofold. There's the hardware improvement, and then software has to catch up. And because software takes so long, basically these games are taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Hardware just continues to run rampant now these days and make anything that, you try to maybe in a sense sell to somebody look old by the time it already comes out. So seeing that the PlayStation 6 is already somewhere now in some phase of production or maybe research and development, I wonder what those who are defending the PlayStation 5 actually, have to say to this. Now, I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying, what are your thoughts? What does this actually indicate, in your opinion, to what PlayStation is doing? They're already trying to sell you a PlayStation 5 Pro that has minimal improvements. Oh my gosh. Should we say almost negligible improvements to the PlayStation 5 in terms of what it can do? Because again, this particular console seems like it's going to depend heavily on AI upscaling to be able to get anything done. While at the same time, they want you to, be ready and prep yourself for a PlayStation 6, which apparently now is being rumored or being touted that it's going to focus on backward compatibility. All the while, everyone's been pointing you to a platform that's going to pretty much get all that stuff done. You don't have to wait for a PS6. You don't have to overspend on a PS5. You don't have to worry about subscription services and so on and so forth. And the value proposition is there. In fact, I think that's probably a stretch. If you like console, they've been pointing you to Xbox, which pretty much put backward compatibility on hold. And everybody was like, nobody even missed it. Maybe a few people missed it. They did all kinds of improvements. They did their, 60 FPS patching on many games by just simply unlocking the frame rates if the game's developers wanted, and were able to get those games playing at some really, really good performance at the end of the day. Something that PlayStation pretty much could have done, but has decided that they're going to try to milk and money you for it. And somehow people kept defending this stuff. I kept saying it, that what we're seeing here is a lack of a value proposition. And they're moving on to the new hardware already. They already have been moving on to the new hardware, because if you actually look at the news, it was around 2022 when Intel actually lost the contract to be able to get the PlayStation 6 into their development hands. Apparently about $30 billion worth of whatever. In fact, they're even talking about Intel possibly going to the to make Xbox Series X. I don't know if Xbox is going to continue, because Intel's been having a bunch of problems lately, and AMD has, pretty much proven that they know this market. They understand what's going on. They can get their, especially in the mid-range side, they know what the heck they're doing when it comes to, giving the manufacturers, the console manufacturers, the devices that they want. So this is very interesting at the end of the day. To add to that, the leaks that have come out about the performance of the PS5 Pro, which even though we can't confirm much, this has come from people who, they have industry insiders who've given them a lot of information in the past. We're seeing that the PS5 Pro is basically going to be playing, low resolution gaming, and even some games are still going to stay at 30 FPS, because even with their enhanced mode system, they're not promising nor guaranteeing anybody that your games will be 60 FPS. Whereas if you wanted 60 FPS, which it seems like many PlayStation players do, they can simply get 60 FPS on all their games without any hassle, because the beauty of PC gaming is that it's very simple and very straightforward to tell you exactly what your money can buy. I've seen a lot of people say, well, some people may not necessarily care about investing the time to understand the technology. And I say, well, let those people actually worry about investing that time. Because among the listeners on this channel, we have engineers, we have people that are technicians, we have people that are, that engage in the trades like plumbing and welding, very complex trades that are much more difficult and much more, layered than building a gaming PC. This is why I've always argued when people have said, well, building a gaming PC can't be for everybody. I'm sure the people that are saying that are probably maybe people that have no experience in this life at all. You mean to tell me that people who are technicians, who can work on a car, who can rebuild an engine, that play video games, by the way, you mean to tell me that they cannot put together a PC? Is that the new standard? People who manage entire operations, who manage entire warehouses, and whose job require for them to be able to take on complex tasks simultaneously, ensuring that things are flowing in the organizations that they work in, cannot look up a 10-minute video or look up parts, order them, and then put together a gaming PC. That's always been an excuse that I've always just kind of laughed at, to be very honest, because the technology is not that complicated. It's not that complex. And the fact that people are saying, well, the consoles are convenient, what they're not saying is the consoles are you paying for convenience for an inferior experience. You're trading a better experience for convenience from a company that right now is already making the next product and has already overcharged you for the current new product that they're bringing out. Because $200? No. There's just no value in that. I mean, think about it. You've seen the analysis, right? You've seen the analysis. $200 for that tiny improvement with an AI upscaler. When even DLSS, people have said, we're not really too fond of the fact that developers have been, relying too much on upscalers, because what's been happening is we've been seeing a lot of challenges in terms of these games. So possibly some games will be able to leverage, the new GPU in the PlayStation 5, but keep in mind that the CPU is something that without a good analysis and a good understanding of the CPU itself, you can't really gain in terms of what in terms of the performance that you think you're going to be getting. So I think this is all interesting. I'm going to wait a little bit longer to see what the news is like, because, we're going to get a lot of insider information. And I think a lot of what we call, in quote, insider information is not necessarily just, relegated to insiders, in my opinion. I think it's also in a position where, they like to tease these things first. They want to see how people are going to kind of take the news before they eventually drop it. We've known. Do you guys remember when the rumors first came out? Because these rumors, in quotes, I think they're official leaks. I think that's what they are. Do you guys remember when we knew that the PS5 Pro was going to have the exact same CPU? How did we get such a prediction? But that was not a prediction. That was a very precise and well-staged leak. That's what they were doing. Because now everyone's eyes is dialed in. Everyone's eyes are open to exactly what hardware capabilities are. People have seen a 4090. People have seen a 4070. People have seen a 6750 XT. These things exist. And so now they're looking at the PS5 and they're wondering, can you do these things? Do we have to guess and worry? People have seen what $80 CPUs are capable of. $100 CPUs are capable of. People have seen that you can go from, an $80 CPU in your motherboard to a $150 CPU, $180 CPU, and then unlock your entire gaming experience with the difference of another $80, while PlayStation wants to sell you an extra $200 device with no CPU improvement, basically. I mean, they unlocked it a little bit, but not a new CPU. Wow, it's going to be a hard sell. But again, like I said, I think I said months ago, this is the last console that I'm buying, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. No need for a console anymore. In my case, it might be a need for other people. I'm not speaking for you, but having seen the value proposition as almost nothing on the PlayStation side, no need. I'll just wait for the games. It's not that serious, honestly. There are other people that are making games anyways. And DC is starting to think about, because I play DC games mostly anyways, and their games are multi-plat, and they're starting to, think, which I wonder why they still continue to think about it. They should have been doing it for decades by now, to get their games licensed to other people. If they do that, man, we're going to get a good flow of DC superhero games. Now, the quality is another one they need to work on, which I hope to make a video about Wonder Woman pretty soon. But hey, I don't even know what that game is. We don't even know what's going on with that game. Game was shown in 2019 or so, Game Awards, and we haven't seen anything, and it's 2024. Perhaps development spiral going on there. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace out.